Hello, I welcome you all to the 18th online lecture of the course Engineering Thermodynamics. In the previous lecture, we have studied the concept of closed feed water heater based regenerative Rankine cycle, and we also saw the deviations in actual cycle when we compared with the theoretical cycle. Okay, and in the actual cycle, basically we have considered all the type of irreversibilities which will be coming in practical scenarios. Okay, now based on this concept of vapor power cycles, I have already uploaded an assignment number 8. So today what I'll do in this lecture, I will discuss some of the numerical problems related to the Rankine cycle. In particular, we will be considering the first problem from our assignment only. So whatever the problem number 1 I have included over here, this is the last problem of your assignment number 8. So let us first read the problem statement. So in this problem statement, what we are having a steam power plant. Okay, so steam power plant, as I have already told you, it operates nothing but based on our Rankine cycle. So it is operating on an ideal reheat regenerative Rankine cycle. So what I have done, in order to discuss the problem, I have actually taken the more generic one. So this problem is involving both reheating and regeneration in a single cycle. Okay, and when regeneration is performed, for regeneration we are having one open feed water heater and one closed feed water heater. It means when we are doing the regeneration in this cycle, we are having two different stages of regeneration. In one stage we are having an open feed water heater, and in another stage we are having a closed feed water heater, and one reheater we are having. Then what is happening, steam is entering to the turbine at a pressure of 15 megapascal and 600 degree Celsius, and the pressure inside the condenser is nothing but equal to that of 10 kilopascals. Now what is given, that some of the steam is extracted from the turbine at 4 megapascal pressure for the closed feed water heater. So it means when the steam is expanded over the high pressure turbine at a pressure of 4 megapascal, some of the steam is taken out, and the pressure at which steam is taken out is nothing but 4 megapascal, and this steam is then further passed through nothing but a closed feed water heater, and then the remaining steam is reheated at the same pressure. So once again we have reheated the remaining steam at same pressure, and final temperature we have made it nothing but 600 degrees Celsius. After that, the extracted steam is completely condensed in the heater and is pumped to 15 megapascal before it mixes with the feed water at the same pressure. Okay, so whatever the steam we were having, that is condensed, and then it is pumped to a pressure of 15 megapascal. Okay, and this 15 megapascal we pumped it before it mixes with the feed water at the same pressure. Okay, then after that what we are having, steam for the open feed water heater is extracted from the low pressure turbine at the pressure of 0.5 megapascal. Then once again, as we are having one more stage of regeneration, so that is nothing but performed at a pressure of 0.5 megapascals. Now we have to determine that how much fractions of steam we have extracted from the turbine, as well as we have to also determine the thermal efficiency of the cycle. Okay, so let us first try to see that what are the individual conditions given. So if you see, the first condition given is highest pressure is nothing but 15 megapascal and temperature is 600 degree Celsius. So what we are having over here, highest pressure is, it means I can simply say the boiler pressure is nothing but 15 megapascal, and the temperature at the inlet of the turbine is nothing but equal to 1600 degrees Celsius. Okay, and after that we have the next pressure which is nothing but represents the first stage of regeneration. So if you see that pressure, the first stage of regeneration is nothing but done at 4 megapascals. Okay, so let me write the first stage of regeneration. Say I am representing as Phi1. So first stage of regeneration is done at 4 megapascal, and similarly whatever the temperature we are having in this, because reheat is also done at the same pressure, so for the reheat cycle the temperature is nothing but equal to once again 600 degree Celsius. After that, what are the next data is given? Next data given is that feed water, this whatever the steam we have extracted, that is once again pumped to 15 megapascals. Okay, so that is nothing but identical to that of a statement of a closed feed water heater. And then the second, whatever the low pressure turbine we are having after the reheating, in that low pressure turbine we are having nothing but 0.5 megapascals of the pressure at which steam is extracted. Okay, so then one more pressure is given, and this pressure is nothing but equal to 0.5 megapascals. Okay, and apart from that, somewhere there should be condenser pressure. Let me see. So steam for the open feed water heater is extracted from the low pressure turbine at a pressure of 0.5 megapascal. And what we have to do, okay, so condenser pressure is already mentioned over here in this statement. So the condenser pressure is nothing but equal to that of 10 kilopascals. So let me write down over here condenser pressure as nothing but equal to 10 kilopascals. Okay, so what I will do now, I can directly draw the cycle over a TS plot. So let me start. Though before that, if you are having any problem in drawing the cycle over TS diagram for the first time, first you can go for the schematic representation of the cycle and then you can draw it on the TS diagram. But what I will do in this present example, first I will start directly with the TS diagram using the data whatever is given over here, and then I will show the block diagrams in slides only, and there the corresponding TS diagram once again. Okay, so let me first start with the temperature entropy plot. So this is my temperature axis, this is my entropy axis, and let us consider this is nothing but our liquid vapor dome. Okay, so let me draw now the different pressure lines. So this is our first pressure line, which is nothing but corresponding to pressure of 15 megapascal. Then we are having one more pressure line, and that pressure line we are having is nothing but at pressure of 4 megapascal. Okay, then we are having one more line, that line is nothing but at a pressure of 0.5 megapascals. Okay, so next line is at a pressure of 0.5 megapascals, and then at the end we are having the last line, which is nothing but corresponding to our condenser pressure, and that is having a pressure of our 10 kilopascals. Okay, so these are the different pressure lines in this cycle. Now if you see, our highest pressure is nothing but equal to that of highest pressure and temperature is nothing but pressure was 15 megapascal and temperature was nothing but, say this is our highest temperature of 600 degrees Celsius. Okay, so this is our highest temperature. Now from this the steam is expended over a turbine, and then what we have done, say this is my point number say 9, say this is my point number 10. Now this 10 point is nothing but corresponding to 4 megapascal pressure. Now what we did at this 4 megapascal pressure, we have taken certain fraction of the steam. at this point number 10. Say the fraction of the steam we have taken is nothing but equal to y, and whatever the remaining fraction we are having, that is nothing but equal to 1 minus y fraction. That fraction actually we have once again heated inside this reheater, and that reheating is also done nothing but to that of the temperature of 600 degrees Celsius. So once again, this process from 10 to point number 11 is nothing but our reheating process. Okay, because y fraction we have taken out over here, and whatever the remaining 1 minus y we are having, that part is nothing but we have reheated. Okay, and then it is, after reheating, it is passed through nothing but a low pressure turbine. So then this is our low pressure turbine, and whatever this total steam we were having, out of this, now once again at a pressure of 0.5 megapascal, what we have done, we have further taken certain fraction. So say the fraction we have taken over here, say Z, and remaining amount we allowed to expand in the turbine till the condenser pressure of 10 kilopascals. Okay, so what how much was the fraction in this low pressure turbine? So if you see over here, the fraction was nothing but equal to 1 minus y. Now out of this 1 minus y, Z fraction once again I have taken over here. So it means now the fraction remained inside the turbine till the condenser pressure is nothing but 1 minus y minus Z. Okay, so if this is say point number 11, let me consider this point at which steam is extracted. Let us consider it as point number 12. Bottom let us consider as point number 13. And after that, what has been done inside the condenser, condensation process will be happening. That will be happening nothing but for 1 minus y minus Z. Now one more important information you have to know, that this y fraction whatever we have taken, this is nothing but corresponding to that of a closed feed water heater. Okay, so with this y in the bracket I am writing C. So this C is representing nothing but this is passed through a closed feed water heater, and whatever this Z amount we have taken, this Z amount is nothing but corresponding to that of a open feed water heater O. Okay, so now we know that in case of an open feed water heater, what we do, we pump the saturated liquid nothing but till the pressure, whatever higher pressure we are having. So if say this is nothing but our point number 1 saturated liquid state after the condenser, this we will be pumping back in a pump till the pressure of 0.5 megapascals. Okay, so we have pumped this till the pressure of 0.5 megapascals, because over here we are having nothing but a open feed water heater. And so this is my point number 2. Now what we will be doing, now we are having open feed water heater. So in case of an open feed water heater, this point number 2 and this point number 12, these two now will be mixing inside the heater, and while these will be mixing, these will be exchanging both mass as well as energy, and these will be giving us final state at nothing but corresponding to this point, and this point is nothing but our saturated liquid state. Why this will be giving this point? Because when we design the regeneration process, we consider this Z fraction in such a fashion so that when both these two streams, this subcooled liquid and this steam over here, which is having the enthalpy corresponding to point number 12, when these two will be mixing, these will be actually giving us nothing but a saturated liquid state. Okay, so ultimately what I will be getting, that this my point is say point number 3, which has been resulted due to the mixing of point number 2 and point number 12. Okay, after that what we will be doing now in order to complete the cycle, what we will be having over here, we have to employ a pump. Okay, and whatever the pump we will be employing over here, that pump will be nothing but pumping our liquid from point number 3 to say point number 4. Okay, so this pumping has been done. So this pump we have nothing but used till our boiler pressure. And now what will be happening? So over here when I am representing, so this is actually this temperature is coming more than that of the temperature of point number 10. However, in actual practice what will be happening, so this is a wrong representation over here because I have randomly drawn the lines. I have not drawn with actual conditions, but in actual practice what will be happening, let me just write over here, the temperature of point number 10 will be nothing but more in comparison to that of the temperature of point number 4. So because of that, when the point number 4 and point number 10, these will be allowed to enter inside a when these will be put inside a our closed feed water heater. In that case what will be happening, this 4 point will be gaining heat. Say after gaining heat, this 4 point is nothing but reaching to point number 5, and whatever this 10 point is there, this will be losing heat, and after losing the heat it will be coming to nothing but saturated liquid state. So say this is my nothing but state number 6. After that what I will be doing, now I will be employing a pump which will be pumping this portion, this Y fraction, from this intermediate pressure of 4 megapascals to the boiler pressure. So this will be my next 6 to 7 process, and then this 5 and 7 will be allowed to mix in a mixing chamber, and after mixing we will be getting some intermediate state. Say I am representing with this blue dot over here as nothing but state number 8. Okay, and then the process of 8 to 9 will be happening nothing but inside our boiler. Okay, so over here if you try to see what I have done, without even plotting the schematic representation, what I have done, I have directly plotted this TS diagram, okay, by just reading the statements and knowing the different conditions of pressures and temperatures. Okay, so this is coming from our knowledge of the open and closed feed water heaters. Now one important point you have to remember, because I have drawn this diagram by considering the random values, so all these pressure lines are not in proper scale. So that's why what has happened, my 4 point, the temperature of point 4, actually as per the diagram it is appearing that it is more than that of the temperature of point number 10. However, in actual practice what will be happening, in actual practice temperature of point number 10 will be more in comparison to temperature of point number 4. Okay, so let us now try to see the correct diagram with correct representation and proper scale in our slides. So what we are having in our slides, first thing, this is our block diagram. So if you see, this was nothing but the entry point to the turbine after the boiler. Then we were having some high pressure turbine, and after the high pressure turbine at a pressure of 4 megapascal, we have taken certain Y fraction, and that we have passed into a closed feed water heater, whereas whatever the remaining 1 minus Y fraction was over here, that we have passed through a boiler once again for reheating, and then whatever this 1 minus Y fraction is over here, this we have passed through a low pressure turbine, and then from the low pressure turbine at a pressure of 5.5 megapascals, we have taken this Z fraction out. Okay, so within the turbine till its exit, we are having nothing but 1 minus Y minus Z fraction, which we have passed through a condenser, and the pressure inside the condenser is nothing but equal to 10 kilopascals, after which we have used a pump till the intermediate pressure of 0.5 megapascals, and then we have allowed both this 11 point and 2 point to mix, and this has resulted in nothing but point number 3, which we have increased the pressure till our boiler pressure, and this point and whatever we are receiving Y fraction from the high pressure turbine, these we have passed through a closed feed water heater, and this is our mixing chamber. Okay, so this is the whole process which we have plotted in the schematic representation. Its corresponding TS diagram I have already plotted. So this is the most complex combination I have included over here. Now if you are able to clearly understand this typical configuration, obviously whatever the individual closed feed water heater or open feed water heater, or I can say the reheating questions you will be getting, you will be able to easily solve all these. Okay, so this is schematic representation. Now corresponding to this schematic representation, if you plot your TS diagram on actual scale, it will be looking something like this. So this I have already shown you that how we can plot this diagram. So if you see, whenever I have plotted earlier, I have tried to consider that I should get the same terminal points. So over here if you see, all the terminal points are nothing but identical to those whatever I have drawn in the previous slides. Okay. So now what we have to do, we are having two questions which are asked. So first is we have to determine that how much this fraction Y and Z we have taken out of the turbine. So first thing is we have to determine Y and Z, and next part is we have to determine the efficiency of the cycle, that how much is the efficiency of this overall cycle whatever we are having. So in order to do so, first what we have to do, whatever the knowledge of open and closed feed water heater and reheat cycle, I have already told you in the previous lectures, we have to employ that one over here, and at the same point of time we should also know how to use the steam tables, and from the steam tables how to determine the values. So let me just comment on how to determine the values, and after that directly I will show all the thermodynamic properties over here. So if you see, this point number 9 is nothing but a superheated state, and at this state we know both the values, pressure as well as temperature. So as we are knowing both pressure and temperature, we can simply determine the value of enthalpy at point number 5. Similarly, I can determine the value of entropy at point number 9. Once the entropy of point number 9 is known, we know that 9 to 10 is nothing but an isentropic process. So S9 will be equal to S10. It means now at point number 10 I know both the entropy as well as the pressure. So I can determine value of enthalpy at point 10. After that, if you see the point number 11, at point number 11 pressure is nothing but 4 megapascal and temperature is given equal to 600. So once again you can determine the value of enthalpy from the superheated table as well as the value of entropy. Then what will be happening, because process number 11 to 12 is nothing but isentropic, so whatever the entropy of 11 point is there, same will be the entropy of point number 12. So for point number 12, now we know the value of entropy and we know the value of pressure as 0.5 megapascal. So from these two values we can determine both enthalpy, entropy is already known, so I can determine the enthalpy of point number 9. Then for point number 13, this 10 kilopascal pressure is known and it is lying in between the liquid vapor dome, and we know that process number 12 to 13 is nothing but isentropic, so it means S12 is nothing but equal to S13. So if I know S13, I can calculate the first I can find out the fraction X13 using S13 as nothing but equal to S of 0.1 plus X times Sg minus Sf. Okay, by using that formulation I can determine the value of X13, and once X13 is known, I can apply enthalpy equation as nothing but H13 equal to HF plus X13 into HFG to determine value of point number 13. Okay. Now point number 1 is nothing but a saturation liquid state. Similarly point number 3. Similarly point number 6. So for 1, 3 and 6 I can determine all the enthalpy values. So H1, H3 and H6. These enthalpies are nothing but enthalpies of saturated liquids at the given pressures. At the same point of time I can determine values of specific volume V1, V3 and V6 at both the points. Okay, so values of specific volumes are also known. Now we know that pump work is nothing but specific volume. So it means V1 into P2 minus P1. Now V1 is also known, P2 and P1 are also known, and this pump work is nothing but equal to H2 minus H1. So from this formulation what I can do, H1 is already known, I can determine the value of enthalpy at point 2. Similarly, by using the pump work between 3 to 4, I can determine the value of enthalpy at point 4, and similarly using the formulation of 6 to 7, I can determine the value of enthalpy at point number 7. After that, one assumption which we have taken yesterday in our formulation of closed feed water heaters. So what was the assumption? That whatever the enthalpy of point number 6 is there, same will be the enthalpy of point number 5. This is nothing but coming from the assumption of closed feed water heater formulation, whatever we have taken yesterday. Okay, and once these enthalpies are known, then point number 5 and point number 7 is mixing, and that mixing will give us nothing but enthalpy of point number 8. Okay, so if you apply all these formulations, whatever just now I have described, you will be finding that the different values of enthalpies are nothing but whatever I have shown over here, and the corresponding values of pump works are also like this. Okay, whatever are represented over here. So all these values can be easily obtained from the steam tables if we know how to properly use the steam tables. Okay, so whatever the formulation has to be used, that just now I have told you. Okay, so this part let us consider. So I am considering at this stage that you people have got sufficient knowledge of using the steam tables, and you all will be able to calculate how we have determined all these enthalpies. Now let me consider our solution, how to proceed further. So we have now determined all the enthalpy values. Now we have to determine nothing but fraction Y and fraction Z, that how much fraction we have taken, and ultimately we have to determine the efficiency. Okay, so for finding out fraction Y, what we have to do, we have to nothing but apply the energy balance across this closed feed water heater. So this process over here is nothing but from the closed feed water heater, or in other words what you can do, you can simply go through the schematic representation whatever we were having earlier. So over here if you see what is happening in closed feed water heater, in closed feed water heater Y fraction is coming with enthalpy of nothing but point number 10, and this 1 minus Y minus Z fraction is coming with enthalpy of H4. Okay, and these two are then giving us nothing but state number 6 and state number 5. So let me write this energy equation. So first what I am doing, I am applying energy balance. I am now applying energy balance across closed feed water heater. So if I apply energy balance across closed feed water heater, what I will be getting, I will be getting Y times of, say my m dot is the total mass flow rate, at which point nothing but this will be corresponding to point number 9. Okay, because this is the point at the inlet of the turbine. So from the turbine we have taken Y fraction. So it means whatever mass we have taken, that will be nothing but Y times of M9. Okay. And then this we are taking with enthalpy of 10. So this mass into H10, and plus with this what we are doing, we are allowing to mix which part? This point number 4. If you see the mass over here at point 3 will be nothing but at point 2 how much was the mass? At point 2 mass was 1 minus Y minus Z, and the mass which was entering at point 12, that was nothing but equal to Z. So this will be adding to that, and at point 3 our mass will be nothing but equal to 1 minus Y. So over here the mass is nothing but 1 minus Y, because this Z is coming from here, so it will be adding to this mass, and ultimately we will be getting 1 minus Y. It means 1 minus Y times of M9 is the mass which is coming at which point? At point number 4. Okay, so plus I can write 1 minus Y times of M9 into H4. When this these two are entering inside our closed feed water heater, finally what is happening? Finally we are getting nothing but this stage, whatever was entering with Y fraction and enthalpy H10, it has become equal to point number 6. So I can simply write as Y times M9 into H6 plus whatever the remaining amount 1 minus Y was entering at point number 4, that has hit it and reached to point number 5. Now let me represent this one clearly in our diagram over here. So you see this was entering at point number 4, and after exchanging heat in the closed feed water heater, its temperature has increased from point number 4 to point number 5. So I can simply write that Y into instead of Y, that will be 1 minus Y into M9 into enthalpy at point number 5. So now if you see what will be happening, this M9 will be cancelling everywhere. So this M9 will be cancelling throughout the equation, and all the values of enthalpy H4, H5, H10 and H6, all these enthalpies are known. So it means if we substitute the value of all the enthalpies, ultimately we will be getting our value of Y as nothing but equal to 0.1766. Okay, so this is the first fraction whatever we have taken out in closed feed water heater. Now we will be going for next step. So next step is nothing but whatever the fraction we have taken out in open feed water heater. So if we apply once again the energy balance across open feed water heater, what we will be finding, if you see in case of open feed water heater, we are having this Z fraction which is entering with enthalpy of point number 12. Okay, so it means we are having Z into, okay, and this Z is nothing but once again we are considering the total fraction with reference to mass number 9 only. So I can simply write as Z into M9, and this has come at nothing but point number 12. So this is coming with enthalpy of 12 plus over here if you see this state number 2 is there which is entering to the open feed water heater. So this 12 and this 2, and the mass of the 2 is nothing but 1. Over here we are having 1 minus Y minus Z fraction. So I can simply say plus 1 minus Y minus Z into M9, and this enthalpy is nothing but equal to 2. And now what is happening inside the closed feed water heater, open feed water heater, both these 2 and 12 are physically mixing, and then they are giving us nothing but enthalpy corresponding to point number 3. So I can finally say when this 1 minus y minus z and z will be mixing, we will be getting final mass as nothing but 1 minus y times m9, and at the end we will be finding our enthalpy of point number 3. Now once again also here if you see m9 will be cancelling everywhere. We know the value of H12, H3, H2, and we also know now the value of Y. So if we substitute all these values, finally we will be finding that our Z is nothing but equal to 0.1306. Okay. So now what we are having, we have come to know both the fractions whatever we have extracted. So now our next task is to find out the efficiency. So finding efficiency is very simple now, because for finding efficiency what we want net work output and we want the amount of heat supplied. So if you see what is the amount of heat supplied, now inside the boiler which state is entering? Nothing but state number 8, and exit state is state number 9. So I can simply write that heat supplied is nothing but m dot 9 into, so m dot 9 I am considering as the reference point, and whatever the mass at 9 is there, same mass will be at the point number 8 into H9 minus H8. Okay, so that will be coming only if we know about the mass, and if we have to calculate say this enthalpy on per unit mass basis, this heat supplied on per unit mass basis, then I can simply write as small q in as nothing but equal to H9 minus H8, and in that case it will be nothing but on kilojoule per kg basis. Okay. So heat supplied we have determined on kilojoule per kg basis. Now if I have to find out the turbine work will be nothing but equal to, if you see your process inside the first high pressure turbine, their enthalpy was changing from point number 9 to point number 10, and total mass was actually entering. Say if total fraction is 1, so it means 1 into H9 minus H10. After that what has happened, inside the second stage from point number 11 to point number 12 we are having only 1 minus y fraction, so I can write 1 minus y into H11 minus H12, and when we are having the process inside the stage number 12 to stage number 13, during 12 to 13 we are having fraction as 1 minus y minus z. So I can simply say 1 minus y minus z into H12 minus H13. So if you substitute, all the values are known, you will be getting turbine work. Pump work already we have determined for individual pumps. So finally if we calculate the net work, which will be nothing but equal to turbine work minus pump work, we will be finding our network expression. And now if we calculate the efficiency, that will be nothing but our W net divided by Q in. Everything I am doing on per kg basis. So you will be finding finally that your efficiency is nothing but equal to 49.2%. So what you can do, you can substitute all the values and then you can determine this final value of efficiency. Okay. So one more thing I want to tell you all, that don't get confused with the question. So if one by one you follow the steps, you will be able to get all the things. And also this is the one of the complicated question I have taken over here. Why? Because I thought that if I do this question in the class, then it will be clearing all your doubts and this will be the most general problem. So obviously when you will be determining all the values of enthalpy and solving each and every point, this problem will be taking time. So you need not to worry, because in your exam when the questions will be coming, all these things will be considered. that how much time is required for solving the problem. Okay, so probably you will not be getting that much complex problem in your exam. So this I have already only included over here just to give you the complete knowledge of the problem solving process. Okay. Now let me discuss the second problem, but before going to the second problem, I just want to introduce one small component. So that small component is nothing but known as a flash chamber. So whatever the second example I have taken, that includes the formulation using flash chamber. So let me first introduce that what is flash chamber. So flash chamber is nothing but a device. So it is nothing but a tank, and before the tank we are having some expansion device. Okay, so generally what is done inside the flash chamber, generally what we do at the inlet of the flash chamber, say point number 1, we supply normally saturated liquid. When we will be supplying this saturated liquid, and in between what we are having, in between we are having a throttle. So because of this throttle, what will be happening, the pressure will be decreasing. Okay, so what I have told you, that flash chamber consists of a tank and it consists of a throttling device. Okay, and from this chamber normally two outlets are taken. So one outlet is taken from the bottom and another outlet is taken from the top of the flash chamber. Okay, and another important point I have told you, that if this is my temperature and entropy plane and this is my liquid vapor dome, so I have taken this point at the inlet of the flash chamber as nothing but a saturated liquid point. So say this point is nothing but point number 1. Now I am allowing this to pass through a throttling device. We know that throttling device, what happens inside a throttle, I have already discussed with you the throttling process. So in throttling process, what happens, enthalpy remains constant and pressure decreases. So now I have to draw a constant enthalpy line over here, and what has happened, so because of this constant enthalpy line, pressure has actually decreased. So say this is my low pressure stage. So say this is my nothing but, I am considering it as say point number 1 dash. So this is my point number 1 dash. So over here my point will be nothing but 1 dash. So it means that at the exit of this throttling device, what I will be having, I will be having a mixture of liquid and vapor. Okay, so over here I am having the mixture of liquid and vapor. Now after that, what will be happening, when we are allowing this liquid plus vapor to enter inside a tank, what will be happening, inside this tank the vapor part will be actually, because of its light weight, it will be collected at the top of the tank, and liquid part will be actually residing on the bottom of the tank. So because of that, what will be happening, if we consider an outlet at the bottom, we will be finding that in the bottom we are getting nothing but a pure liquid, and if we are considering an outlet from the top of the tank, we will be finding that from this top outlet we are getting nothing but a pure vapor state. Okay, so here I was getting at state 2 nothing but pure liquid, and over there I was at the top portion I was getting nothing but pure vapor. Okay, and the pressure within the entire chamber will be nothing but same. So it means what has happened, this throttling has given us the mixture of liquid and vapor. However, this tank has helped us in removing or separating the liquid and vapor phases. So it means I will be getting nothing but this as my vapor phase, point number 3, and this over here as my liquid phase, point number 2. Okay, so any device which helps in separating the liquid and vapor phase, and before which throttle is there, in order to convert saturated liquid into a mixture of liquid and vapor. This type of device is particularly known as a flash chamber. Now if you go through your textbook Sontech, you will be finding that there are certain problems which are related to the geothermal power stations. Okay, so one such problem I have included over here, and this type of geothermal power stations actually requires the knowledge of flash chambers. Okay, so let me first discuss that problem with you all. Okay, so if you read the problem statement, so what we are having, with a higher supply pressure and temperature of the geothermal source, it is possible to have two flash evaporators as shown in figure. So in this figure, what we are having this one as our first flash evaporator and this one as our nothing but second flash evaporator. Assume the supply is saturated water. So it means whatever this one point we are having, that is nothing but a saturated water. So supply point is a saturated water, and this is nothing but at a temperature of 250 degrees Celsius. So temperature of this point 1 is nothing but 250 degree Celsius, and the first chamber flashes to 2000 kilopascals. Okay, so it means the pressure inside this total chamber is nothing but equal to how much? 2000 kilopascals. Okay, and at point state 2, what we are having? At state 2 we are having saturated liquid, and this is once again flashed to a pressure of 500 kilopascals. So over here we are having one more pressure of 500 kilopascals with saturated vapor, which is then added to the turbine. So both these saturated vapors, whatever we are getting, these are nothing but added to the turbine, and the exit of the turbine is at 10 kilopascals. So it means this point number 4 is nothing but corresponding to 10 kilopascals, and the quality is also given, and quality is nothing but equal to how much? 78%. Okay, now what we are doing, if we are considering that, say, a supply, total supply which is given at the entry, if it is 10 kg per second, we have to determine what is the mass flow at states 3 and 5. So what is the value of this mass flow rate at this point and this point, and also we have to determine the turbine total power output. So what is the power power produced by the turbine? Okay, so let us try to see first the TS plot of the same. So let us first write down all the given data. So what we are having, the temperature at point number 1 is nothing but equal to 250 degree Celsius. So this is the value of temperature, and one important point is given, that our point number 1 is nothing but a saturated water. And after that, the pressure inside the chamber first is nothing but, it means that pressure is of point number 2 as well as of point number 3, because 2 and 3 are coming as outlet from the chamber 1. So if chamber pressure is 2000 kilopascals, the pressure of these two outlets will also be 2000 kilopascals. And similarly, we are having the pressure of second chamber. So from second chamber we are having two outlets, P5 and P6. So their pressure is nothing but equal to 500 kilopascals. And apart from that, one additional information is given, that pressure at the exit of the turbine. Now if you see, at the exit of the turbine we are having nothing but point number 4. So it means pressure at the point 4 is equal to 10 kilopascals, and quality of point number 4 is 78%. So this much data is given. Apart from that, it is also given that at point number 1, how much mass is being supplied is nothing but equal to 10 kg per second. Okay, so based on this data, first what we will do, first we will plot all the process on a TS diagram. So let us consider, this is our temperature entropy plot, this is our liquid vapor dome. Now let me consider that this is my point number 1. This is the given first thermodynamic state at which our temperature is nothing but equal to 250 degree Celsius. After that, what we are having over here, we are having nothing but 3 pressure lines. So first pressure line is somewhere over here, whose pressure is 2000 kilopascals. Then second pressure line we are having with a pressure of how much? 500 kilopascals. And third pressure line we are having, which is nothing but equivalent to that of the condenser pressure, and that is with a pressure of 10 kilopascals. Now what we have done, the first process which has been done inside this first flash chamber, first we are having an expansion device or throttling device. So inside the throttling device we will be having a reversible process. Say we have reached to nothing but point number 1 dash, and after this we have now taken out the liquid, saturated liquid at point number 2 and vapor at point number 3. After that, this 2 point, once again we have passed through second flash chamber, and this second flash chamber is nothing but going till the pressure of 500 kilopascals. So this is my say point number 2 dash, and from this point we once again separated liquid and vapor. So first liquid is at point number 5 and this vapor is at nothing but point number 6. And then what we have done, whatever this point number 3 and 6 we were having, sorry, I have drawn these points I think wrongly. Let me check with the block diagram. Okay, so in the block diagram, point number 5 is corresponding to the vapor and 6 is corresponding to the liquid. So it means what I have to do over here, let me take first eraser. Okay, so now what I will do, this is nothing but our point number 6 and this is our point number 5 as per our block diagram. Okay, now what we are having at the exit of the turbine, it is already given that quality is nothing but 78%. So let us consider this is the point corresponding to 78% quality. Okay, so it means this is my nothing but point number 4. So at this point number 4 now the expansion has happened, first from point number 3 and second from point number 5. So now I have to draw the expansion process. So let me draw the first expansion process with red colored line. So this is first expansion process, and let me draw the second expansion process with the blue colored line. So this is my second expansion process. So both are meeting at which point? Say the thermodynamic state of this point is nothing but state number 4 as per our block diagram. Okay, so now one thing you have to remember over here, already in your question the exit quality was given to 78%. So that's why what we have done, I have drawn these as dotted lines because these are nothing but representing the effect of irreversibilities. In case this value of 78% was not given, and only if the turbine exit pressure was given, in that case we could have drawn the isentropic lines by considering the ideal nature of the process from the point number 3 as well as from the point number 5. Okay. However, in this question actually the exit point of the turbine was given, so that's why we have drawn over here the process with actual lines. Okay, so now it is very easy. This point number 1 is nothing but a saturated liquid state and temperature is given, so I can simply determine the value of enthalpy by referring to the saturation temperature table. So if I go and find out the enthalpy of point number 1, I will be finding it nothing but equal to 1085.7 kilojoule per kg. And now as we know that this process 1 to 1 dash, this is nothing but this process is a isenthalpic process because this process is happening inside an throttling device, and we know the process inside the throttling is isenthalpic from our earlier knowledge. So that's why I can simply write over here that this H1 is nothing but equal to H1 dash. Okay, then what we are having, second point we are having as point number 2 and point number 3, and for this pressure is already known. So if we know the value, if we know the pressure from the saturation table, I can determine values of H2 and H3. So H2 you will be finding that it is nothing but equal to 908.47 kilojoule per kg, and similarly if you find out H3, you will be finding that H3 is equal to 2798.3 kilojoule per kg. Okay, then what we are having, one more thing, if the process 2 to 2 dash is isenthalpic, then H2 will be equal to H2 dash. So this is nothing but equal to H2 dash also. And now for point number 6 and 5 also pressure is known. So I can determine for enthalpy of point number 6 as nothing but equal to 640.09 kilojoule per kg, and value of enthalpy for point number 5 as equal to 2748.1 kilojoule per kg. Okay, and after that what we have to do now we have to determine that what is the, so if you go through your question, you have to determine the mass flow rate at states 3 and 5. So it means how much vapor has entered inside the turbine, and also you have to determine the total power output. So now one important point I would like to highlight over here. You see this point number 1 dash is nothing but in between the liquid vapor dome, and this point 2 and point 3 are corresponding to the saturated properties. If the value of quality at point number 1 say is X1 dash, I can write down the expression of enthalpy as nothing but, I can write down that H1 dash will be equal to H liquid is H2 plus X1 dash into vapor minus liquid. So vapor is nothing but H3 minus liquid is H2. So if I substitute the values of enthalpies over here, I will be finding my X1 dash is coming out to be nothing but equal to 0.093781. Okay, now I already know that this is nothing but, this represents the fraction of the vapor. Okay, so if it is the fraction of the vapor, so my vapor part over here is nothing but corresponding to which state? State number 3. So I can simply say that mass flow rate of point number 3 will be nothing but equal to X1 dash into mass flow rate of point number 1 dash. 1 dash was the supply point, and we know that in between 1 to 1 dash there is no mass change. So that's why mass flow rate of point number 1 dash will be equal to mass flow rate of point number 1. So if I multiply with mass flow rate of 1, which is nothing but 10 kg per second, I will be finding that mass flow rate of point number 3 is nothing but equal to 0.93781 kg per second. Okay, now same formulation I can apply for this pressure of 500 kilopascals, because at this 500 kilopascals the quality corresponding to 0.2 dash, say if it is X2 dash. So what I can do, I can further write down that H2 dash will be nothing but H6 plus X2 dash into H5 minus H6, and this will be giving us X2 dash as nothing but equal to, so value of X2 dash is coming out to be 0.1273. Now we know that mass at 0.5 will be nothing but equal to x2 dash into mass at point 2 dash, and mass at point 2 dash will be nothing but x2 dash into mass at point 2 will be equal to m2. Okay, and now we know already, if we see over here, so what is mass at point 2? Mass at point 2 is nothing but mass at point 1 dash minus mass of 3. Okay, how? If you apply the mass balance across this one, so what is happening over here? m1 dot is coming, and how much is leaving? m2 dot plus m3 dot. So if I have to determine the m2 dot, that will be nothing but m1 dot minus m3 dot, and m1 dot and m3 dot I have already determined. So it means I can simply write that mass at point 5 will be nothing but equal to x2 dash into mass flow rate of point 1 dash minus mass flow rate of point 3 dash. If you substitute the values, you will be finding that mass flow rate of point number 5 is nothing but equal to 1.15362 kg per second. Okay, so with this we have determined the fractions of vapor which we are supplying to the turbine. Now what we have to do, we have to now determine the total work or power output from the turbine. Okay, so what we are having now, already we know the enthalpy of point 3, enthalpy of point 5. So if we have to find out the total power output, we have to determine the enthalpy of point number 4. For finding the enthalpy of point number 4, we already know the quality and we know the value of pressure as 10 kilopascal. So at 10 kilopascal I can determine Hg and Hf, and then based on that I can determine the value of enthalpy at point number 4. So let me write this formulation. So at 10 kilopascals, what is Hf? So if you find out the Hf at 10 kilopascals, it is nothing but 191.81 kilojoule per kg, and similarly if you find out the Hg, that is nothing but 2583.9 kilojoule per kg. And what will be our H4? That will be nothing but Hf plus X4, which is given as 78% into Hg minus Hf. If you apply this formulation, you will be finding finally that H4 is coming out to be nothing but 2057.64 kilojoule per kg. Okay, so this is our H4. Now what we have to do? Now we have to determine the power. So if you see this TS diagram, over here we are having M3 mass, which is extending from enthalpy H3 to H4, and over here we are having mass M5, which is extending from enthalpy H5 to H4. So I can simply write down the total power or total work done per unit time from the turbine as nothing but m dot 3 into H3 minus H4 plus m dot 5 into H5 minus H4. If I just simplify this equation, I can write m dot 3 into H3 plus m dot 5 into H5 minus of m dot 3 plus m dot 5, and H4 will be coming as common. So if I substitute all these values, I'll be finally finding the value of power as 1491.13, and this will be nothing but in terms of kilojoule per second we are getting, because we are multiplying with kg per second. Kg will be cancelling, so kilojoule per second is nothing but our kilowatt. Okay, so what I will do with these two numericals, now I will stop at this point. So I suggest you all now to go through the numerical problems which are given in assignment number 8. Okay, probably after listening to this lecture you will be able to easily solve all the problems which are given in assignment number 8. So now I'll stop at this point, and from our next lecture onwards we will start our discussion on the year standard cycles.